Do you think the reputation of the United States has gone down under your presidency?
No, I think it's gone way up, and I think we're a respected country again. We were laughed at all over the world. We had a president that couldn't walk up a flight of stairs, couldn't walk down a flight of stairs, couldn't walk across a stage without falling. We had a president that was grossly incompetent. You knew it, I knew it, and everybody knew it, but you guys didn't want to write it because you're fake news.
All right. Thank you.
And by the way, ABC is one of the worst. I have to be honest with you.
Thank you.
Want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Hey. Why this beat so cold?
We will make America proud again. When you try to kill our citizens, we will make America wealthy again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
Boy, oh boy, you just can't make this up. Just when you think it doesn't get any better. With the fake news media, the enemy of the people. You've lost the people's trust. People have turned off the TV. Ratings have plummeted in the toilet. Things have tanked, nosedived with the fake news media. The ABCs, the NBCs, the CNNs, the MSNBCs, all of them, the alphabet news. People are getting fired, pay cuts. People are suspended now. I mean, it's just terrible. People have lost their jobs, because they just can't tell the truth. Bias, fear-mongering, racist, the same propaganda rhetoric, Trump hatred, threat to democracy, dictator on day one, Hitler, and just completely losing their minds, And these are your results, Brother Terry. And you guys might know this familiar face. And Trump just sat down with this man right here in the Oval Office and had a great interview, completely destroyed him, and he just made a savage outburst on one of Trump's officials, advisors, and ABC News shut that down. He's been suspended. They're calling for him to be completely fired and, stripped and removed from the network. And I'm for it, y'all. Okay, we've been telling y'all about ABC News, one of the worst. They just paid out millions. A lawsuit with President Trump just paid Trump millions of dollars. ABC News also just reached out to the ladies on The Spew. We did a video on that. Y'all seen that was viral week before last. It trending everywhere. ABC News and the Disney CEO just reached out to the women on The Spew. We call it The Spew, but it's The View. With Whoopi Goldberg, Joy, Sunny Host, just a disgrace. As their ratings have plummeted as well due to the Trump rhetoric. And they've been told to tone it down or face cancellation. Yeah. But these are the results you're seeing all over. And we told you guys, be ready. The people are sick of this crap, man. They're tired. They're tired of being lied to. They're tired of the misinformation, the same bias, fear-mongering, propaganda rhetoric, the same crap. They just won't tell the people the truth. They don't want to play the full thing. They don't want to tell you the full story. And they have to go on, independent media sources, platforms like this to find out the actual truth. They have to go on X and see, oh, wait, what I seen on TV, what I seen over here at the mainstream media this isn't the same thing. Why am I getting lied to? Oh, this has actually happened. Oh, Trump actually said this. Oh, this has actually happened. Why didn't they play the full thing? Why did the headline say this? Oh. Yeah. Same thing we seen this past election interference, the headlines, cutting out answers, editing answers, claiming somebody did this, that somebody did that when they didn't, you know, and they have to read out hundreds of legal notes live on air with those women on the spew. And here are your results, Terry. You know, but Terry posted this right here, and ABC News shut him down after posting this about one of Trump's officials, advisors, Mr. Miller. You know, but says he's the brains behind Trumpism. You know, to translate his policies, his movement. But that's not what's interesting about Miller. He says it's not brains, it's bile. Miller is a man who is richly endowed with capacity for hatred. He's a world-class hater. You can see this is just by looking at him, because you can see that his hatreds are his spiritual nourishment. He eats his hate. Trump is a world-class hater, but his hatred only it means to an end, and that ends his own glorification. That's his spiritual nourishment. Like, what? These people are this sick in the head to post this. So, you know, again, when will they ever learn? You know, we've seen what is taking place on the CNNs, the MSNBCs, people completely fired, removed, their shows get cut time, their ratings are terrible, you know. Look at the ratings. And a lot of independent media channels on YouTube are doing way better ratings than the mainstream media. I wonder why. You wonder why people are just fired. That's it. The network has cut you. We want nothing to do with you anymore. The Joy Reids, the Jim Acostas. You wonder why. And again, ABC News CEO just came out and said, tone down the rhetoric, the bias, the hatred, the misinformation. Yeah. Don't get into it, man. You just can't make this up.
Humble the elegant watering can. In my opinion, every garden, no matter how large or small, you need a watering can. In this bed here, and I can just quickly them. So I personally
just too good and it has a happy ending, so I can't help myself. This is one of my favorite stories of all time. It shows the cultural power that we have right now against possibly the greatest enemy of the republic that is currently operational, which is the corporate media, the entrenched corporate media. Ladies and gentlemen, you'd think ABC News would have learned their lesson as they had to settle a $15 million defamation lawsuit against President Trump. ABC News is now funding a massive wing of the Trump library with this $15 million settlement and on-air apology from George Stephanopoulos, who says he regrets what he said about Donald Trump. You'd think they'd learn, but they haven't learned at all.
Like I told y'all, they have not learned. They have not learn. And guess what? More of these stories are going to come out. More people are going to be fired. Ratings are going to continue to go to plummet and get worse and worse and worse. Just wait for the next headline. Wait for the next person. Well, just wait. Somebody else is going to be made an example out of next. Don't worry. You know, I told you, it's not going to stop with the Joy Reids and just watch how this happens. You know, and we're predicting that the women on the spew, something big again is going to happen with those women on the spew. Also ran, you know, with ABC News, because it's all connected. You know, Disney, all, you know, just something big is going to happen with the women on the spew. That's what we're predicting. You know, and MSNBC. You know, it might be sold off. I'm just saying, because that's how bad it's getting. And that's how bad their ratings are. Because it's Trump, 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 Trump bad, Trump this, Trump that. Tell the people the truth. You can't do it. Trump, 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 Trump.
somebody named Terry Moran. Terry Moran. Okay, fine. Just give me the dad joke here for just a second. Terry Moran. He's this guy. Maybe you've seen him, maybe you haven't. He actually recently interviewed President Trump. He sent this post late last night, which is one of the most insane things I've ever seen posted on X. And that's saying a lot. This guy is a very prominent anchor on ABC News. Have a listen. The thing about Stephen Miller is not that he is the brains behind Trumpism. Yes, he's one of the people who conceptualizes impulses of Trump movement and translates it into policy. But it's that but that's not what's interesting about Miller. It's not his brain, it's bile. Miller is a man who is richly endowed with the capacity for hatred. He's a world-class hater. You can see it just by looking at him, because you can see that his hatreds are his spiritual nourishment. He eats his hate.
People are I'm telling you, man, Trump the Ranger syndrome. We've seen, again, we're seeing stages in this country we've never seen before, man. It is honestly sad and pathetic. You know, and we're seeing what's going on down here in LA. You know, it is crazy, man. People are waving flags in a protest. Then take your butt back then. And I hope Trump deport all y'all. Take your butt back. Waving flags in a protest.
What's wrong with this guy? Trump is a world-class hater, but his hatred only is a means to an end. And that end is his own glorification. That's his spiritual nourishment. What is wrong? Like, this is like the ramble, like the rantings of some type of like woke lesbian pastor. Like, I don't, like some type of like psychotic activist. Like, by the way, like you can tell by the way that he wrote this, you can tell the way that this is written that he spent a lot of time. Yeah, I mean, he spent a lot of time thinking about this. It's not brains, it's bio. Like, we're used to seeing stuff like this from like Keith Olbermann, Kathy Griffin. This is amazing. Stephen Miller's wife, Katie Miller, popping off here. This is why Americans don't trust the legacy media. When the
I gotta tell y'all, Americans don't trust. Americans have turned off the TV. You know, and look at the numbers. Americans are resonating with independent media, independent sources. They're done with the legacy media, the mainstream media. I wonder why. People are done with the CNNs, the MSNBCs, the NCSs, all of them.
master down the radical left-wing bias at ABC News. These people are feeding propaganda in the airwaves in the guise of righteousness. Stephen Miller saying the most important thing about Terry's full public meltdown is that it shows that the corporate press in America for decades are privileged anchors and reporters narrating and gatekeeping our society have been radicals adopting journalist pose. Terry pulled off the mask. He pulled off the mask. I don't, for the life of me, I can't figure out, like, this is, by the way, this is career suicide. And for a reason that you might not know. Not just is this like the unhinged shrieking of like a divorcee on Facebook, you know, like a divorced mom on Facebook, but also what I find wild about this is that ABC News as a business model won't survive, right? You got to understand the way that ABC News, NBC, and CBS were all set up were these massive, generous, free broadcast licenses that were given them by the public at the taxpayer's expense. They are essentially a functionary of the federal government, meaning they have to abide by very, very express requirements to deliver non-biased coverage in the public interest. And that public interest is right now being investigated by the FCC because obviously these networks are, left-wing cesspools. You know, the ABC also platforms The View, like for instance. You know, and but you have to understand the reason why ABC, NBC, and CBS are free on everyone's TV is because they promise to not use their broadcast licenses granted to them by the taxpayer. That is a huge benefit to them. Like, we don't have that, right? Imagine how big our show would be if it was free on every television. Imagine how big like anyone's show would be if it was free. You know, Fox News isn't free. That's a good example. Anyway, the point is that given the psychotic and pathological anti-Trump meltdown, I am calling for the immediate firing and apology from the network. ABC News' broadcast license must be stripped away. Do you think people would actually pay for ABC News? Of course not. Well, get a load of this. Terry Moran has been suspended by ABC News after he called Trump advisor Stephen Miller world-class hater. Okay. ABC News correspondent Terry Moran suspended after wild rant against Trump advisor Stephen Miller. He eats his hate. These people they're truly pathological. I mean, it's really psychotic. I'm glad he did it though. I'm glad he did it because it shows you what this is. ABC News senior correspondent has been suspended after a late night screed against White House advisor Stephen Miller, along with President Trump, social media, drawing scathing backlash from the Trump administration. This guy truly is a moran. ABC News announced on Sunday that it was suspending him over concerns of him violating his outlet's standards for impartiality and objectivity, which is, of course, true. ABC News stands for Objectivity and Impartiality, LOL. In its news coverage, it does not condone subjective personal attacks on others. The Post does not reflect the views of ABC News and violates our standards. As a result, Terry's been suspended pending further evaluation. He deleted his post, never a good look, but not before, of course, they were screenshotted and moved around like wildfire. An ABC journalist posted this absolutely vile smear of Stephen Miller. It's dripping with hatred. Remember that every time you watch ABC News, says J.D. Vance. Yeah. Everyone is roasting right now. Just a reminder that Terry Moran just interviewed Donald Trump, and Donald Trump destroyed him. Get a load of this.
Wasn't a member of a gang. And then they looked, and on his knuckles, he had MS-13.
There's a dispute.
Well, wait a minute. He had MS-13 on his knuckles tattooed.
He had some tattoos that are interpreted that way. But let's move on.
Wait a minute. Hey, Terry.
He did not have the letter MS-13.
It says MS-13.
That was photoshopped. So let me
That was photoshopped, Terry. You can't do that. Hey, they're giving you the big break of a lifetime. You know, you're doing the interview. I picked you because, frankly, I never heard of you, but that's okay. I picked you, Terry. But you're not being very nice. He had MS-13 tattooed.
We'll agree to disagree. I want to move on to something else.
Terry, do you want me to show you the picture?
I saw the picture. We'll
and you think it was Photoshop? Well,
here we go.
Don't Photoshop it. Go look at his hand. He had MS-13.
He did have tattoos that can be interpreted that way. I'm not an expert on them. I want to turn to Ukraine, sir.
Terry,
I want to get to Ukraine.
No. He had MS as clear as you can be, not interpreted. This is why people no longer believe the news, because
when
it's
he was
fake
photographed
news.
in El Salvador, they aren't there. But let's just go on. They aren't there when he's in El Salvador.
They weren't there, but they're there now, right?
No,
but they're
there in
now.
your picture.
Terry.
Ukraine, sir.
He's got MS-13 on his knuckles.
All right.
Okay?
Well, we'll take a look at that.
You do such a disservice.
We'll take a look at that,
Why don't you just say, yes, he does, and, go on to something else?
It's contested.
Carolyn Levitt obviously calling for his firing. J.D. Vance calling for his firing, saying that ABC News needs to apologize. Looks like they're on their way. Various members of the White House comms team saying he's the enemy of the people. This guy needs to be fired, obviously, for what he's doing, or their license needs to be stripped away. Yeah. Obviously, Terry Moran, just angry about the way that Donald Trump wrecks him inside of the White House. ABC News' broadcast license should be revoked. I mean, listen, this would mean that ABC News would have to pay. People would have to pay for ABC News the way that they pay for Fox News, right? Would they survive on that model? No. No, they will not. Everything about this Terry Moran post needs to be studied. Notice, Moran gives full endorsement of physiognomy, states that he has the ability to read Stephen Miller's thoughts and minds. Wow. Yeah, totally unhinged. Everyone's jumping in. Bizarre late night radical rant. They must immediately remove him. And also, more importantly, they should really threaten the broadcasting licenses. Why should everybody have to pay for Fox? Why should ABC News, CBS, NBC, PBS all be free? Ladies and gentlemen, making that point was Carolyn Levitt on Fox News this morning with Maria Bartiromo. Here you go.
Stephen Miller put a post out about the details of the big, beautiful bill, and he was attacked by one of the reporters apparently on ABC. I saw your tweet about it, and you say last night in a since deleted post, so-called journalist Terry Moran went on a rampage against Stephen Miller. What happened, Caroline?
Well, ABC is going to have to answer for what their, again, so-called journalist put out on Twitter in the wee hours of the night, calling Stephen Miller vile. They said that President Trump is a world-class hater. And this is, again, coming from someone who is supposed to be an unbiased and professional journalist. This is unacceptable and unhinged rhetoric coming from someone who works at a major television network. We have reached out to ABC. They have said they will be taking action. So we will see what they do. But I think this speaks to the distrust that the American public have in the legacy media. And it's why in the White House press shop and in President Trump's White House, we have made so many significant and much needed changes to press access and transparency at the White House. We've invited in new media. We have shaken up the White House press pool. And we also just won a major victory over the Associated Press, who thought that they had a constitutional right to walk into the Oval Office or to fly on Air Force One, and a judge said no. In fact, those are privileged spaces that belong to the President of the United States. And this is a great ruling for democracy. We fought them in court and we won. And so we will continue to keep or hold journalists accountable. All we're asking for is truth and transparency. That's it.
Of course. And you said ABC is going to take action. What do you expect that action to be?
Well, we'll have to see. I mean, hopefully this journalist will either be suspended or terminated. You cannot go on these unhinged rants against administration officials and the President of the United States. And then clearly he knew he was wrong because he deleted the post as soon as he allegedly woke up this morning.
Yeah. Seems like everybody's deleting posts, huh? Everybody's deleting posts. Fake news media, the enemy of the people. And be ready. More things like this are going to continue to happen. Again, the true people's true colors come out. More lawsuits will be settled. You know. More people will be shut down, canceled. And again, it's not looking good for ABC. The Women on the Spew, who's also ran by ABC. The CNNs, the MSNBCs, all of them. So don't be surprised when you see the next headline, the next person, somebody else made an example out of, somebody else fired, sued, license stripped, revoked, you know. It's always biased, the same propaganda, the same rhetoric, the same fear mongering, the same lies, the same misinformation, the same crap. And this is your results. This is where it ends. When will you learn? When will you ever learn? But once again, ABC on fire. Now, let me know what y'all think. I love y'all. If you're new here, join the family. Hit that subscribe button. Keep it rolling me in the comment section. And y'all have an amazing start to the week. Happy Monday. And we got some more big things to get into. Let's go and jump in. I'll catch y'all on the next one, family.